Well, this one is one and done at Apple TV Plus. They have not renewed it for a second season, but you can enjoy all 8 episodes of the first and now only season of this sci-fi thriller on Apple TV. Let's talk about Constellation. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the Apple Plus series Constellation. This is streaming now, and it is featuring Noomi Rapace, who starred in the original foreign versions of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series on film, and also I think she was in the second Sherlock Holmes movie here in the States, but also Jonathan Banks, who played Mike in the Breaking Bad universe. They both star in this. So lots to talk about here with this one, but first let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews on the channel, and just about every day something new goes up, so there's always a lot to check out. With that in mind, please consider subscribing, click that like button, and comment below. All that stuff, of course, helps the channel out. Okay, so this involves the ISS, the International Space Station. Essentially, an unidentified object collides with that, which leads to the death of one of the 5 astronauts aboard and crippling the onboard systems of communication and whatnot. And some of the modules as well to help them land properly. So some of the surviving astronauts make some emergency evacuation things and do end up safely landing back on Earth. However, things are not as they appear back on Earth, as the lead astronaut, Joe, played by Noomi Rapace, figures out. So this is based on nothing. It's one of the few Apple TV Plus series, that's like a thriller or whatever, that is not based on existing, novelization or whatever. This is just from the creator's mind, and that is a rarity in streaming in general. So many books are being mined for thrillers and dramas and stuff, especially on Apple TV Plus, I feel like. But every so often there's, an original idea like Severance or something that really kind of pops. This one did okay with the critics, but audience is a little bit more torn on it, and I'm sort of more in that camp, and I'll tell you why. So this is very, very confusing and slow moving. So the whole thing about, what's going on back on Earth, things are not as they seem, doesn't even really rear its head until towards the end of the second episode. So the first episode, well, there's some flashback stuff and different timeline stuff, so that's where sort of the confusing part comes in. But the bulk of like the what's going on back on Earth thing doesn't appear until almost 2 hours into this show. Now look, if there was a second season planned, obviously they probably had plans for that and storyboards and whatever and plots going on. I don't know that this wraps completely. I only watched 3 of the 8 episodes of this show, so my guess is probably not. They most likely were waiting, and hoping for that season 2. So this may be open-ended, and so, okay, let's take our time and get to know these characters, and then we'll sort of drop the bombshell in, the end of episode 2, episode 3, of what this show is really about. But it's way too long. If you want to do that, different timeline kind of thing, that's fine. Give us enough in that first episode to make us want to explore more. Essentially, if I wasn't doing a review for this show, I think I would have turned it off about 40 minutes into episode 1. It just didn't grab me at all. The characters are okay, but the idea of like, oh, okay, somebody dies up in space, and now, how do we get back? And I mean, we've seen this explored in so many movies. I feel like the early to mid 2010s had like a lot of these movies, Gravity, and what was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal? Was that called First Man? That was one. Was there one called just Space? I forget. Anyway, there was like a whole slew of movies like this. The Martian, obviously, is not necessarily the exact same, but sort of dealing with emergencies, up in space. So I don't know. So anyway, this is reminiscent of like a lot of those things, and okay, that's fine. But those were 2.5 hour movies, so you get to kind of push things along a little bit, whereas here the storytelling is so slow and also confusing because of the different timeline things going on. So once we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, the last maybe 10 minutes of episode 2 and then episode 3, we really start exploring. Great, that's fine. But at that point, I've kind of checked out. So look, maybe if I knew this was coming back for season 2, maybe I would finish it out and then see it through, because that's actually what happened with For All Mankind, which is another Apple TV Plus show about space, and this actually hit season 1 of this hit right after the most recent season of For All Mankind ended, I think like a few weeks later. So people wanting that kind of space story. Okay, sure. For All Mankind's on pause. Let's go to this new show, Constellation. And I actually did go back to For All Mankind. I reviewed it when it first came out, and then as the seasons progressed, people were just loving it. The reviews were great. So, okay, let's go back to this. And I ended up watching all of that first season, over again. I think I'd only watched maybe the first 2 or 3 episodes originally, and it really grabbed me. That might happen here, I don't know, but since I know there's no season 2, I'm going to sort of take a step back. But look, if you watch episode 1 and you're not bored with it, if you're excited about finding out where this goes and whatever, then maybe you will get something out of it. It is getting pretty decent critical reviews. I think it's at like 71% or something on Rotten with the critics, so that's good. But look, Jonathan Banks gives us a great performance as always. I think his scenes are by far the most compelling. He is sort of a past astronaut that now is working, more in the trenches. But as we sort of learned in episode 3, is his mind playing tricks on him? Did that even happen? Was he an astronaut? I don't know. There's a lot of questions there with his character that are interesting. I think there are some interesting places to go with these characters and with the story, but why does it take so long to get there? But yes, if you're missing Jonathan Banks from the Breaking Bad universe, he's always compelling to watch on screen. He's great here, especially there's a couple of scenes with him and Joe's daughter that I thought were very, very well done. But yeah, overall, boy, this was just, some interesting things in concept, but in execution, no, not for me. I leave Constellation with a C-. And you can check that out now if you would like on Apple TV Plus. All 8 episodes of season 1 are up there. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It. I'll see you next time. Bye.